All right, guys, welcome back to Stumblin Forward. I'm one of your hosts, Kristen Herman.
And I'm Monica Ortega.
Awesome. And today we're here with Ashley Parker.
Yay.
Ashley is actually Splash of Ash LLC, and a multimedia company that seeks to empower individuals to nurture their mind, body, and soul in order to achieve a greater self-worth. Ashley Parker, the founder, has made it her mission to inspire individuals to live their best life while being their best self. With her master's in clinical mental health counseling, she shares actionable mindset shifts to help you change your everyday, which in turn will change your life. Thank you so much for being on the show, Ash. How are you today?
Yes. Heck yes. I am so happy to be here. I am doing good. And this is going to be a fun conversation. So thank you so much for having me.
Definitely a fun conversation. Well, how did you just get started and how you got Splash of Ash started?
Yeah. So originally I went to school to be an education major. So I wanted to be a teacher. I loved working with people and kids, and I was all jacked up about it. And when I went into school, freshman year of college, they kind of throw you into the schools pretty quickly and they're like, all right, get going. Thank goodness they did, because I realized pretty quickly that wasn't where my heart really was. So I was like, what else can I do where I can connect with people and work with people, be around people that would jack my spirit up like I was looking for? So I met with a psychology professor at my little university that I went to here in Florida. And I was like, I'm not sure if this is for me. What do you think? And he was like, heck yeah, you would love psychology. So I ended up getting my bachelor's in psychology, education in minor. And I was like, I have to go on to get my master's. So in the School of Psychology, if you can't really do that much if you don't get a higher degree than just your bachelor's degree. So I went on to get my master's. I took kind of a 6-month break and I got an internship at a nonprofit organization that works with eating disorders, which was really, really awesome. Such a good experience for me. And that kind of was like, all right, I'm ready to jump back into school. So master's in clinical mental health counseling. As I went into my clinicals on where you have to actually work with real people who struggle with real, life issues, I also kind of went through that. This isn't jacking me up like I thought, which was super scary because I'm like, here I am, spent so much time doing this, and
having your whole degree and getting going into your master's and kind of having those doubts, it's got to be scary.
Sure. And exactly. And I was like, okay, so what's next? And I feel like a lot of people can kind of relate to that. Like you were just saying, what's next for me? How will I still find something that jacks me up, lights my soul on fire, but is also still working with people? Because that's what I loved. So quarantine hit, which was a blessing for me in my personal life, because it really gave me the opportunity to take a hot second and figure out, where do I want to go? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? All of those things. And so I was quarantined with my family over in Naples, Florida. So I'm on the East Coast of Florida and my parents on the West Coast of Florida. And when we were there, I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I don't know if I want to graduate with my master's in clinical mental health counseling and pursue this and almost be miserable and not make a change. And also I was thinking that wouldn't be very helpful for my clients, right? If I'm not my best and feeling, how is that going to help the people that I'm trying to help? So I actually started a YouTube channel and I have 3 videos. They are not up anymore, so don't ask me for those because holy cow, it's awful. It's not good. But I actually had somebody reach out to me and say, hey, what are you doing? What is your, end goal with this? So it really made me stop and think, where do I want to go with Splash of Ash? And I was like, let's start a podcast. So I actually started my own podcast too and started Splash of Ash to impact a greater audience and use my education to help people be their best and live their best. So that's Splash of Ash.
Nice. I love it. It's so funny. Have you read the book Everything is Figure Outable by Marie Forleo, or do you watch any Marie Forleo?
No, but tell me all about it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. She's hilarious. She's like a Jersey girl. She swears. She's amazing. She has a YouTube channel. But she wrote this book and she talks kind of about that, how like she worked on Wall Street and then woke up and was miserable. And then she worked for Vogue and she was like, am I broken? Like I have these dream jobs and I don't want them. And it like took her all of these things to figure out coaching. And I just, you should check out at least her YouTube channel because she's
talking about that, where it's like just having those doubts, like saying you have your dream job, working for Vogue, like somebody else out there is just like, that would be my dream job. But then you get it. And then you're like, okay, well, I'm not happy. I'm not as happy as I thought I was going to be. That's a hard thing to come to. Like, that's really hard to walk away from. Walk away from the money, one, but also, just not having the passion. So how did you feel like, overcoming that with Splash of Ash? You feel like that's just still working with people and it's inspiring people?
Yes.
But
honestly, it was my family that really gave me that support that I needed to make that pivot and to make that shift. And I also think quarantine kind of forced a lot of people and a lot of businesses to have to pivot, right? Like, how are we going to navigate this new world that we are in so that we can still pursue what we love? Some of these small businesses, they had to learn to pivot. Like, what are we going to do to survive? And so for me, it was finding that support system that was like, hey, Ash, you can do this. You have what it takes and it's going to be a lot of hard work, but we back you. So go after what you want to do. So it really was that support system. And I can't imagine I would honestly be doing it if I didn't have that support system behind me saying, you go, girl.
So what are the goals with Splash and Ash? Is it like coaching? Is it just to grow the podcast? Is it to, work one-on-one with people? What's sort of the big picture?
Yeah. So I'm loving podcasting. One, I get to meet awesome people like you guys who are also kind of on this journey of life that we're all trying to navigate and stumbling forward. Right. So it's really awesome to get to connect with really amazing people. But so that's kind of where my heart is right now. But I'm in the process of trying to come up with like a mentorship program. I don't necessarily want to work one-on-one with people because I don't want to get into that pattern that feels like clinical mental health counseling because I don't have my license. So there's that fine line between coaching and inspiring and empowering and clinical therapy. So that's a scary line that I don't want to cross over, one, legally, and two, because I don't want to fall into that same pattern of feeling miserable. And I think if I work more one-on-one, I'll start to kind of feel that ickiness that I don't want to feel because I want to be my best to help people as well. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I think that that going into making sure that you're not stepping over the line in the sense, I feel like it's hard because you didn't want to ever go back into your master's and just like finish it out and get your clinicals done, or did you feel like it's just better to be just in this area you're at right now?
Yeah. So I did actually graduate with my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I pushed through it. And when quarantine hit and COVID kind of hit, we weren't allowed to go into the building. So we were actually doing therapy with clients over Zoom like this, which felt very different. And it honestly made me feel really bad for the clients too, because they need that, come in and feel that connection. And I don't think that counseling feels as professional, and I think people would take it almost more as a joke. And if you're sitting in here, they're not really paying attention. You're in your house, there's distractions. Yes. So it kind of gave me the opportunity to work on other things where I didn't have to drive into the, office and do all of that work. But so I did graduate, but it gave me the opportunity, not going into the studio, to figure out what's next for me.
Okay. And that's where I agree with the Zoom thing. It's as much as I think that Zoom helped a lot of people during the pandemic, to still kind of stay connected, there is a difference with I feel like being one-on-one with someone and not being at home, especially when you're going through therapy. So I completely agree with that. Yeah.
And energy is so contagious too, right? How fun would it be if we were all in the same room right now, right? We would probably be totally feeding off of each other's energy and feeling that vibe. It's very different, but hey, technology is getting us through this time, and thank goodness for it. So I really honestly feel both ends of the tech world, although I'm not very
Agree.
great with technology.
Totally agree. Yeah.
What
Yeah.
would you say are maybe some of the mistakes that you made when you started the podcast, or just the transition of all of this? Anything like that?
Oh, that's a hard question. I feel like I wasn't ready for how much work it was going to be. I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but I wasn't prepared for all the work. So I can see y'all's faces and you're like, yeah, no, same.
And like Monica probably knows more than me right now. She's probably a little bit more like in tuned on how much work she's doing.
Yeah. So that was a little bit like, okay, this can be a literal full-time job. And so that was a little bit of a shock. And also, I would say that interviewing people has been a learning process for me. So when I have guests on my podcast, I sit and really prepare and think on how I can show up as my best self and really give the floor to my guests so that they can share their stories. And I think my clinicals and having that therapeutic experience has helped me in some ways, but doing therapy and interviewing somebody for a podcast is very, very different. So
Yeah.
I don't think I was prepared for that either, but it's been fun still connecting with people. And I'm just trying to give myself grace to make mistakes and to struggle through it and keep showing up anyway.
So with now that the pandemic, is really kind of hopefully coming to a close, where hopefully this year we will all be able to see each other's faces again in person. Do you feel like Splash of Ash would want to kind of shift into like more one-on-one, or something that's like in group settings?
Yeah. So, what I'm hoping to do, which is also going to be a learning journey for me, is kind of come up with a way to mentor, but have pre recorded videos for that. So, I think a lot of people in this space who are coaching, they kind of have packages already set. So, it will be hopefully like some self esteem, some anxiety, maybe a little bit of depression, and not so much in the clinical sense, but if you feel in a rut, if you feel like you're negative, if you feel like your self-talk has really just been destroying your head and your heart, these are the kinds of packages that I want to offer to help people. So it'll be programs they can work through on their own once they buy them, but not so much one-on-one, Zoom interactions like this. Again, I kind of want to stay away from that because I don't want to start to feel burnt out and start to feel like not happy again, miserable in what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. More like online courses and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. But it's going to be a process to learn how to do. So if y'all have any tips or people who might be able to help me navigate that, let me know, because I also feel like support and finding people who can be your mentor and people who you can look up to is really important, especially in this space too.
I totally agree. Yeah. Going for making sure like who else is doing something similar, and then taking on like advice from other people is it's really beneficial, especially when it's coming into anything inspirational, or if you're thinking of packages or pricing, anything like that. It's great to go for someone else.
Oh, yeah. Totally. And something else that I've kind of learned is there's a lot of people who are in this space that want to empower and inspire and connect with people, but the way that you guys do it will be different than me. So we're all welcomed in this space together to support each other, to empower everyone that we can. So I think that's something else that I'm kind of learning is, we're all kind of in this together, and how you guys do it will be different from me. So let's all rock on together.
For sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people wanting to help others get a better mindset, right? Like if we all did that, we would be freaking rock stars.
Right? I'm so here for that. It's fun to meet people who are in this space too. I've met the most amazing people who do it different than me, but it's so fun to see kind of how you guys do it and how other people do it to inspire and impact, because some people might not like my taste, and some people will love you guys, and that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being like an entrepreneur, I can't talk, an entrepreneur now, what would you say is the biggest mindset shift from like the normal path of following these careers to, okay, I'm going to stop everything and do it all on my own? Like, what was the biggest mindset shift for you?
Hmm. Planning, because I feel like when I would go into work, I kind of already knew what I had to get done, right? Like I already knew the paperwork I had to fill out for my clients. I already knew the sessions I had for the day. And this, I'm kind of in it, on my own. So the work that I put into it will be the work that I get out of it. And so if I don't do anything with it, nothing will happen with it. So I think the mindset is, the more I focus on this, the bigger I will grow, the bigger I will become personally, but also in this space, if that makes sense. So
Yeah, time
it's kind of
management
just
and keeping yourself accountable.
Yeah.
totally. What about you guys?
Oh my gosh. Well, time management is huge. So I started my travel show 6 years ago, and it was, yeah, having to schedule out the hours. Otherwise, it's just not going to get done. And being easy on yourself, I think, is huge,
Yes,
because it's so easy to compare and feel like you're just not going as quick as other people instead of realizing that
totally.
you're on your own path. So
Yes.
those were probably the two biggest lessons for me, and just to avoid burnout as much as possible, even though I
Yeah.
still struggle with that.
Honestly, it's like anything that Monica just says, I'm struggling with every day. So it's like, I
Well,
Yeah.
have,
that's unfollowing.
I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I should like have like an organization of what I should, and I have it written down, but then at the
Yeah.
same time, each day I come up with different new things that I need to do. And
That's why you
and then
schedule out your hours. Like literally, every minute of my day is scheduled.
yeah,
If I
yeah, I
don't
don't
do
do
that,
that.
it's
Don't do that. I have like an overall general of what I need to do for the day, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I should do that, and then I do it. So it's all in my head, and I need to write it down. And then I'm hard on myself, which is basically my whole last week. So, but that's okay. It's all like, a moving forward process, and it's not even just the entrepreneur life or like what I need to do. I have entrepreneur as well as my general day job that I work, and then I have my I have my life, like trying to move and move on. It's like, so you have sections of everything you need to do in life, and that's where I think that your process and your splash of ash, like I could totally see that being beneficial for someone who's just struggling with like their everyday, trying to organize in their head and think of like what they can do for themselves. So totally get that. What would you tell someone who wants to maybe like invest in Splash of Ash or go through your process?
Yeah. So my motto is change your everyday, change your life, which is kind of what you added into the intro. So I'm all about the little things that we can do today, right now, in this very moment that will help us to be better in the next moment. So I'm all about your habits, right? Like, what do you do in the morning when you first wake up? Do you look at your phone and go on social media and compare to other people, or see that other people are doing it better than you, or whatever your head likes to tell you, all the lies that are upstairs? I'm all about self-talk. How are we talking to ourselves every day? Like you just said, you were hard on yourself. That, like, we are all so hard on ourselves. We would never speak to our friends in the way that we speak to ourselves. So how do we shift that? How do we unlearn some of those things that, and those experiences from, our parents? Our parents did the best that they could with what they knew at that time, but we have a lot of unlearning to do as we go. So it's the little things. That's what I'm all about. It's the gratitude. I had a crappy night sleeping last night. So I work at Orange Theory. It's like that. It's a gym. And we got this new like disinfectant spray, because we have to spray and clean so much more now with COVID. I mean, we were always cleaning, but now it's just, we really have to go the extra mile to make everybody feel comfortable. And we got this new like mister, and it really like sprays the disinfectant like all over. And so you're kind of like breathing it all in. It's wild.
Gosh.
I know. We're like trying it out, and I'm like, I don't think we should do this anymore.
It's like, this is
so
unsafe.
It was really like bothering my throat. And so I had like a crappy night sleeping last night. And when I woke up, I was like, all right, like you got a full day, you got to figure it out. And so my morning routine helps me to just get myself in a positive mindset, to just get myself to a place where I'm like, I can take on my day with confidence and grace and joy. So I am so about the little things. My coffee is very important to me in the morning, and it makes me feel happy. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers, y'all. Yeah.
Cheers.
I love it. So I think it just starts with the things that we do every single day. We really become our habits. And so let's be more intentional with the things that we practice every day, because they matter.
Yeah, I love that. I got into doing like the visualization thing, but I couldn't get into the woo-woo part. So I started literally saying, okay, if I visualize myself doing 8-mile runs, today I can start doing half-mile runs or whatever it is, but like putting those habits into place, like up until the vision point. That helped me feel like a little bit less like, I'm just gonna put it out there and then it'll happen. It's like, no. It's really the habits and the routine.
Yeah. And also putting things into practice, because like you said, with the morning routine, I do believe that a morning routine is very essential and something that you have to form as a habit. And for me, it's hard because I know that you shouldn't have your phone near your bed, because you're going to wake up and you're going to like start looking at it, and then you're going to go to the bathroom or go make coffee or whatever, and you're still going to be looking at it when really you should be doing like everything else, you know, meditating, or if you should feel like you should journal, like it's all practice that people know they can do, and it just become a habit later. But it's like, it's hard. Just a constant struggle. It's a constant day to day. You have to push yourself to do it.
So. 100%.
What is your morning routine?
Yeah. So one, alarm goes off and I immediately go and make my cup of coffee. Like my Nespresso machine is my everything. People are like, you're always talking about coffee, but it's just like, it brings me that much joy. So I get my coffee from my Nespresso machine, and then I practice gratitude. And I don't want that to sound woo-woo, because it's literally like, I'm thankful for my coffee. I'm thankful that today I get a 30-minute break for lunch. Like, it's practical things that literally make me smile. Or, wow, I woke up really thirsty, so I'm going to have a cup of water, and oof, wow, this ice water is like good. It's simple things. It doesn't have to be those cliche, like, I'm thankful for my family. And maybe that is like what you're really thankful for. You're thankful for your support team today. So I just think
I do love that you said the ice water thing, because honestly, every time I drink some ice water, I'm just like, thank God. Like, I love this ice water. It's one of those moments. Anyway, so let's go on.
And like when you can feel it like trickle down your throat.
Yes. Yeah. It just cools the entire body.
I think the most random thing I ever put on a gratitude list was the relief pee. Like when you have to go.
Oh my God.
So bad.
No better feeling.
Oh my God. I had to pee so bad. That's usually on a road trip though. I'm like, I gotta go.
It's painful. So funny.
Sorry.
But it is.
Anyway,
it's those
gratitude.
it's those little things that just make you smile when you wake up. And sometimes it's really hard to practice gratitude. Like sometimes when you just wake up and you're just in a crappy mood, or it's raining outside and you just feel blah, it's hard. You're like, I'm not thankful for anything. Like I have my coffee, but I'm miserable today. But pushing yourself to find those little moments of peace, those little pockets of peace and joy, even when it's hard, it will start to develop that habit. And then setting intentions is the next part of this. So what I mean by that is I think about my day and I think about the things that I have to get done. And I'm a planner. So the night before I go to bed, I always look at my to-do list and the things that I have to get done. So I pretty much have a good idea of what my day will look like the next day, which helps me just feel a little bit more settled when I wake up. So my intentions are top 3 things I got to get done today. And I don't do it with like pressure on myself. I do it in a way that's like, let's be intentional with what I do today. Maybe let's spend 10 less minutes on scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, right? So it's just that intentionality with what we're doing or what I'm doing. And then I make my bed. And I think this is another one that a lot of people have talked about before, but one, it makes me feel a little bit less messy. So when I look inside my bedroom, I'm like, oh, like it looks good today, right? Yeah, you go, girl. You made your bed.
Honestly, it's like, it's weird though, because you say that when I was younger, I never made my bed. Like I probably started making my bed every day when I was maybe 23.
Yeah.
And it's because I watched that video of the Marine saying like, if you make your bed every day, your mind says like you have an accomplishment that day.
Yep.
So even if you feel like you have no accomplishments in the entire day and you just kind of give yourself a lazy day, you make your bed, it's like you had an accomplishment. And
100%.
I just like, it really stuck with me, that video. It's probably on YouTube if anybody wants to look it up, just like Marine making bed or something like that.
Yeah, but, it's a book too.
Yeah. I'm like, he'll literally get up and like be in the bathroom and I'll be making the bed and he's like, already?
Yes.
Like, yeah, that's how it works. I make my bed like right away. Yep. Yeah, it took a while though for me to get that way, because like I was not that way when I was younger or in high school or anything like that. So yeah.
Same. I can totally like relate to you on that one. I was never like that either, but now it's just become such a natural thing, right? I get my coffee, I practice gratitude, I set intentions for the day, and then I make my bed. Mm-hmm. So it makes me feel good. And it really does almost kind of help you to accomplish the next thing. Like, okay, I made my bed. Like what, like what else can I do today to be productive? And if it's nothing, if you want to have a lazy day, great, you made your bed. So I really think it's a win-win, and it's so easy. Like if I could show you guys my bed right now, like I just pull the covers up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just pull it up, make it simple. And then the last part of my morning routine is my skincare, because it just helps me wash off. Like today, it was really important to me because I had a crappy night of sleep. So I could wash off my night to start my day on a fresh note. And I also like to use this at night when I either take a shower at night or just like rinse off after a workout. I intentionally think of the things that went crappy or went wrong. And I'm like, it's washing off. Like I am washing off my day, because I'm not going to set foot in my bed and pull up the covers and go to bed with feeling icky. So wash your face, wash your hands, even if you're not like into the skincare or getting in the shower, but just intentionally think all the things that went bad today, or that person who was rude to me at the grocery store, I'm just washing it away because tomorrow's a new day. So that helps me in the morning.
Yeah. I love that, because it's all like mentally strengthening,
Yeah.
Thinking of those things.
The whole, like, it's mentally, but it's also you're physically doing something. So you're setting it into place instead of just, I'm going to let it go. Like you're letting it go.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I think that like it's the physical action and then thinking of it, because you can just go to take a shower. You can take a shower mindlessly, but as like really thinking about, washing off the negative, it's actually more powerful than people probably think. Like, again, like the woo-woo, it might happen, but it's really true. It helps. It helps.
Yeah.
Just like
and it might not work for everybody. That's cool too. Like the thing about having routines in place is finding what works for you. Like I just said 4 things that I do in the morning that make me feel good, but that might not work for you. It might actually make you feel like crap. Like that's fine, but it's finding those little things that make you feel good. Maybe you hate coffee in the morning. Maybe you like heating up water and putting lemon in it. Like, I don't know what you like, but finding that little thing, or maybe it's breakfast for you. You love avocado toast. Start there. Make yourself a dang good avocado toast and find some joy in that. So it's just finding what works for you and sticking with it. And if you hate making coffee in the morning, don't do it then. Like, just find what works.
Find what works for you. I agree.
Oh, so much good little nuggets of wisdom. I know we're running out of time, but where can everybody find you?
Yes. So my website is splashofash.co. On there, you can find my blog, which I fill with mental health and wellness tips and kind of some lifestyle tips as well. I have merch, some little cute sweatshirts that are a little low on stock, but they are there and they're cute. They say change your everyday, change your life. And they have my little evil eye logo on them. So they're super cute. You can also find my podcast on my website. And my podcast is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I'm working on getting it uploaded to some other platforms as well, but it's a Splash of Ash. So you can find me on iTunes and Spotify.
Perfect.
And my Instagram. I forgot my Instagram, but it's at @A_Splash of Ash.
Splash of Ash. It's like, go find it.
Splash of Ash, everything.
People can find you and everything as well. But this has been amazing.
Wow.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
being on. If you guys are listening to this, be sure to give us 5 stars, leave us a review. This video is going to be up on YouTube a little bit later. And yeah, I think that's about it. I'm Monica. I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Kristen Herman.
And we will see you guys next time. Thanks, Ash.
Thank
Bye.
you, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me.